beautiful human. I am Zach. That is Ann. And today we welcome to the studio for the very first time the front person of a band whose popularity really has steadily been growing since 2017. She's an incredible human being. Their music is gorgeous. It's emotional, vibey. I love it. They've collaborated with everybody from Bad Bunny to Selena and Benny. This human being builds universes and worlds, and thank you for being here and bringing us into all of it. Say hello to Maria of the Marias.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being
Thanks
here.
for that generous introduction.
That
was a good one.
It's just shooting truth, though.
Thank you.
There's a lot to discuss, but right now you've extended your tour, correct?
Yes. So we had our first Submarine tour last summer, and then this summer we're doing the extended version. Yeah.
Can you explain to me why we decided to extend?
We didn't hit certain cities that we wanted to last summer, and I think also, the demand was there for it. For this extended version, we're playing arenas for the first time ever, like headlining arenas, which is just wild. And so, I think we wanted to keep Submarine going for a little bit.
Is there any part of you that's surprised? Like, your story is so genuinely, it is really deeply fascinating, and I want to start from the beginning.
Yeah.
But can you explain to me, do you question why the response has been what it is to this body of work?
I mean, sometimes because, specifically with No One Noticed, that's a song that I just woke up one morning and I picked up the guitar and just sat on my bed and wrote, and didn't really think too much of it, and put the demo together pretty quickly, leaked it, and now it's getting all of this response, and it's our biggest song right now. And so I think moments like that do surprise me, because I'm like, I just wrote this on my bed in my bedroom, and now it's resonating with so many people, and it's our biggest song. And so that moments like that, I'm like, whoa.
Is there any part of you that is surprised by the fact that you had to leak it and not release it with the full support of your record label?
Yeah. It doesn't surprise me, because it is a much slower, more emotional song. And so it's not your typical quote unquote hit, and at the time, our team, they were requesting tempo Maria songs. They were requesting I want to hear dancey, up-tempo, club bangers. And, I was kind of I don't really want to make that music right now. I was just in a place that I was a little bit more introspective. And, so after making No One Noticed, and, the label not wanting to release it because it wasn't this dancey, up-tempo, quote unquote hit, I wasn't surprised by it, but it did upset me to the point of me being I want to leak it. I'm just going to do whatever I want, and I'm going to leak it. And then the fans really gravitated towards it, and they, started doing their own edits and TikToks just to the leaked version of the song before it was even out. And so that's when I was like, okay, I think there's something to this song.
It's an amazing record.
Thank you.
It disappoints me to know that there's still record executives out there going oh, nobody wants to play a mid-tempo record.
Yeah.
And it's great story is great story.
Yeah.
Honesty and truth is honesty and truth.
Totally. I get it. I think with the label mentality, they obviously want to make their money back. And I think, and you do get that with the up-tempo hits. And I feel a more emotional, slower song like No One Noticed is a risk to sort of push as a single, which is why it was never a single. Even when we were releasing Submarine, it was, not really, it was a B-side. So I'm not surprised or upset, over it now, but I understand. But I'm people want to feel things, and,
Yes.
There's two sides of human emotion. There's the emotion that you want to go out and you want to dance and you want to have fun. And then there's, I want to feel something deeply, and I want, to feel this instinctual sort of emotion here and cry, and, and that's more that's where I go.
I mean, is it fair to say that that's kind of where this album lives?
I think so. I mean, there are a couple like up-tempo songs on here, but even those, like thematically, they're like Run Your Mouth is like still.
It's avoiding conflict.
Yeah, it is. So I think the album overall is, it is a breakup album and it is an album that sort of like, I was definitely feeling a lot of like a range of emotion, and I kind of put all of that into Submarine.
Can we just talk about how the album itself came to be? Because this album may have never even happened.
Yeah. I definitely did not think that we were going to write another album after Cinema. I thought the band, there was a whole big thing in the band, and looking back, I tell people it was a smooth transition. The breakup, it was smooth, and we're best friends now, and we're still in the band. We still write music together, but there was a big blowout moment where I thought, oh, okay, this is done. Yeah.
What changes?
Therapy.
Who suggests that initially?
Our label. Our label sent us all to therapy.
I just got to say, there are therapists who specialize in bands.
Yes, and so we went to one of those. We went to a therapist that specialized in band dynamic, and so that was really good for the band. But then Josh and I also went to a couple of therapists that the label also suggested. That is now my individual therapist because she's just amazing. And so Josh and I had a number of sessions with her, and she just kind of helped us, I think, eventually decide, okay, this romantic relationship is not for us, but helped us transition the romantic part of the relationship into what's now a friendship, and kind of made me changed my perspective on relationships in general, because, she allowed me to see that, even if a relationship is not romantic, it can still evolve into a different type of relationship. And to just expect a relationship to be romantic is almost like a possessive way of seeing it, almost like saying, I'll only have you if it's in a romantic sense. It doesn't have to be that way. A relationship can transition into a friendship, in a really beautiful way. And so she helped us see that.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It helped me see things as less attachment, I think, too, and seeing romantic relationships as less possessive, that they can exist without a romantic label,
That's a really healthy and beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it is.
Can we talk about the label being the one to suggest it and then also be the one to recommend the two therapists?
I think, our label puts a lot of emphasis on mental health. They have a mental health fund. And so part of that fund went towards this therapy.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And it's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Wait, that's really vital.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously in their best interest for everybody to work this out and be healthy.
Definitely.
But it's also in your best interest too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm very, very, very grateful that they put so much emphasis on mental health and that they sent us to therapy and that we worked it out and now are just better than ever. We are, all four of us in the band are just closer than ever, and Josh and I are closer than ever, and our relationship, I'm just so grateful for all the guys, and yeah, I love them so much.
Your story really is, I do want to understand how you end up making an album and how, because that is an interesting environment, but I do want to also go back to your story a little bit because it is fascinating. You meet Josh at Cantor's.
Yeah, so I mean,
is that not real?
Yes. So
on Fairfax.
I moved to LA from Snellville, Georgia.
After going there from Puerto Rico.
Yes. So I was born in Puerto Rico, and then my mom is a teacher, and she had gone to the public school system in Puerto Rico, and we're from a really, really small town, in the mountains, jungle, and she she didn't feel comfortable with me going to the public school there, and they couldn't afford, a private school. And I think my mom just wanted us to have a different life than she did. Looking back, I think, there's absolutely nothing wrong with being raised and growing up in Puerto Rico, but I think she had it really difficult. So she moved everybody to Georgia, to Snellville, Georgia, and that's where I was raised. And
what a brave thing to do.
Yeah. She's the bravest person that I know. I mean, yeah, and the kindest person, especially she had a really difficult life and a difficult childhood. And the fact that she just gives us, her kids, so much, but also she's an elementary school teacher, and she's an ESL teacher. And so she helps a lot of immigrant kids and a lot of immigrant families. And she's just my hero. But, so the fact that she had such a difficult childhood and was able to sort of, channel that and help other kids and have that level of empathy towards other people is just, I admire her so much.
She's doing the real work.
Yeah, she really is. She really
vital.
is. Yeah. Yeah.
Special person.
Very special person. And she's very modest. She'll see this and be like, no, why are you talking about me? But I think the world should know that my mom is an amazing human being. So
how much of who she is as a person exists within you? As we get older as individuals, we do I hear my dad's voice in my voice all the time. I see things I do that are so similar to my mom constantly.
Yes, I see both of my parents in me, and they're pretty opposites. My mom is more reserved, puts a lot of emphasis on education. She's still the only one, in my family who graduated from college. She got her master's degree while raising 2 kids, while, being just an amazing teacher and doing after school programs and everything. And so she puts a lot of emphasis on sort of that. And my dad is just the opposite, free spirit, do what you want. He's the one that I travel with, so they're opposite. So I see both of them in me, and very conflicting as well. I'm like, should I do this? Should I live in the moment? Yes, because my dad lives in the moment. That's what I learned. But then my mom is a little bit more cautious. Should I be a little bit more cautious in this decision? And so I'm like, kind of in the middle.
You kind of need a balance of both to do what you do.
Definitely. But I think, I definitely took a risk in moving from Snellville to LA, and I thank my dad for that level of risk taking, because that's definitely something that he would do, and just sort of pursuing your dream without having any, without knowing anyone or anything. I didn't know anybody in LA when I moved to LA. I knew one person, and I had won a Halloween costume contest at the job that I was working at.
You were a farmer's market?
I would, yeah. How did you know that? Yeah, I was a farmer's market for my Halloween costume contest.
How do you dress up as a farmer's
By
market?
the way, so LA.
Yeah. So I was working at a creative agency, and they would make advertisements. And so they had target markets for their clients. So I created a target market out of wood, and I put the logos on fruit, and I handed out money. It was a whole experience, and they loved it. And so I won $5,000, and I bought a car, and I quit my job, the job that gave me the $5,000. And they weren't very happy, but I knew what I wanted to do. And so I bought the car, and I drove to LA in less than 2 days, just booked it over here. And with knowing just one person. And then I got here, and I was like, okay, what do I do now? I know nothing about the city. And so I just said, well, I'm just going to play anywhere that they'll allow me to play, any open mic, any bar, any restaurant, anything, just me and a guitar. I would just go and play random places. And at one of those places, it was Kibitz Room, next to Cantor's Deli.
Iconic.
Yeah.
People may not know, it's not only will give you the best, like I think it's like roast beef or like like of your life, like Obama goes there when he comes to town, but also is responsible for not only like artists like you, but like Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like a really small, like very intimate venue, but yeah, it's iconic.
Would you say it is
It's
maybe
like
half the size of the room?
I would say it's about the size of this room. Yeah,
and it's tucked all the way in the back by the bathroom.
Yeah, yeah. It's
it's
like a hidden little place, and there were maybe 5 people in the audience, and one of those was Josh, and he was running sound. And then he just came up to me after and he was like, hey, like, I love your voice and I love your songs. I have a studio. Do you want to record? And there was something about him that I was like, he's kind of like a little nerdy. And he would agree to that. He's like kind of nerdy and kind of like a little bit awkward, but I like it. And so we met up and we actually didn't start making music together until much later. We met up and like went on a walk and then started dating. And then maybe a year into our relationship, we started making music together.
Hey, beautiful human, I don't think you expected to see me standing and talking to you like this, but I have a message. It's Prime Day and it's summer. Come on, if you want to stream music and stream your favorite podcast, we got a whole list of the top ones, ad-free, or listen to audiobooks right now for free, you can. Amazon Music Unlimited is waiting for you. 4 months free if you're a Prime member, 3 months free if you're not. Either way, scan the code, click the link below, try AmazonMusic.com/Zach. It's waiting for you. Come on, celebrate Prime Day, celebrate summer, and listen to what you love for free. So how'd you know it was time, though, to come to LA? Like, had you been writing songs a bunch in Georgia?
Yeah, I had been writing music and playing, at various venues in Atlanta and kind of in that music scene there. But a friend of mine, the one friend that I knew in LA, she had moved to LA from Georgia, and she was a musician, and she just kept every single day was like, Maria, you need to come to LA if you want to pursue music. Like, I believe in you. You need to come here, please. Like, you need to come here. I have an extra room in my house now. Come. And I was like, okay, now's the time. If she's telling me to go, I should go. And, I didn't know anything about LA. The only thing that I knew was like Hollywood. It's like what you see. It's like the Hollywood sign, the star. Like I didn't know anything. And, I don't have anybody in my family that's in the music industry. My mom's a teacher. My dad's a mechanic. Like the only music industry in my town was like singing at church. And like going to church and playing in the church band. And, so that's the music industry that I knew. So I took a giant leap of faith, and it thankfully worked out for me.
Were you doing covers in Georgia? Were you doing originals?
I was doing originals, yeah. I was writing, and a couple of the songs that I had written and during that time made it as Maria songs. Yeah.
I mean, that friend changes your life.
She changed my life, yeah.
That's crazy.
She did. Mm-hmm.
And you listened.
Yeah, there was just something. There was something that was pulling me. It was a magnet that was just pulling me to LA. And I left everything behind. I mean, there was a lot in me the day that I drove to, LA that was pulling me back. I was in a relationship at the time, and my family, they were in Georgia, and I'm really close with them. And yeah, there was a lot that was like, Maria, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. But there was also a part of me that was like, you know what? Try. If it doesn't work out, this will always be here. Your family will always support you. And thankfully I have a very supportive family. I don't think that I could have done it without their support. But I don't know. There was just something in me that was like, go to LA.
When into your relationship with Josh do you know it's time, or how do you know it's time to like collaborate musically?
He was working on, he had various other bands and projects, and I loved the music. I loved his production and his like sensibility with chords, and I just loved his like the way that he would make music. And I continued making my own music, and I think I just kind of like, I was like, what would it sound like if we made something together? And it took a little bit of convincing, but we finally did. And the first song that we worked on together was a song called Déjate Llevar. He had this chord progression and he had some of the melody. And he was like, I'd be interested to see what this would sound like in Spanish. And so I was like, let's do it. So that was the first song that we did together. And it was kind of a quote unquote like proof of concept. And we were like, wait, this sounds kind of interesting. Like maybe we should make more. And so the second song that we wrote together was Only in My Dreams. And and then we just kept writing songs. And at the beginning, they kind of happened out of like necessity because I was working like 5 jobs at the time, just trying to get by in LA. And I had a music supervisor friend who was like, hey, well, I get these film and TV pitches all the time of, shows that need music and they pay really well. Would you be interested? And I was like, yes, I'll do anything. I was working at a restaurant. I was working at an ad agency. I was Airbnb my apartment and sleeping in my car. I was like, yes, I will try. And so he would send these like, pitches. If this song gets on this TV show, you'll make $5,000 or $10,000. And we were like, yes, let's try. So we would write a song to every single pitch that he would send us. Nothing ever got placed in any of the shows or movies that he sent. But then we had all of this music. And we were like, well, we have all these songs. What do we do with all of these songs that we wrote? And so we were like, well, might as well maybe start a band and start playing these live and maybe release them. So all of these songs that we had written were released as Superclean Volume 1 and Superclean Volume 2.
Wait, so those are all written to pitch?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So is there a story that's formed that's like across all these like, I don't know, like 911 prompts or like Grey's Anatomy requests or like, because that's what it is, right? Like you're just writing to random things.
Random things. They would send us like a summary, like imagine yourself walking through a casino and it's like dark and smoky and there's like dark velvet. And I'm like, okay. And so then we wrote I Like It, which is on Volume 1. That was the casino song. Then there was a song that was like, we want a really moody song in Spanish with like Tom Waits sensibility. And we were like, okay. So then we wrote Basta Ya, which is I think on Volume 1.
100% on Volume 1. And one of your biggest hits from Volume 1.
Yeah. So, yeah.
What about I Don't Know You? Because then that gets picked up by radio.
Yes. So I Don't Know You. Was that a pitch? No, that wasn't a pitch. That was a song that I started writing with a friend of mine on guitar. And then Josh and I were on our way to Joshua Tree for like a little weekend trip together. And I was like, I have this voice note that I kind of want you to hear. And I played him the voice note and it was, I Don't Know You, just very stripped down on guitar. And he was like, oh, this is really nice. And, you could tell he was just kind of thinking about it as he does. He has this way of like hearing the song entirely in his head and like really, I don't know, just like really being really introspective. And so that's how he heard the voice note and then he just didn't really say much, but you could tell he was kind of thinking about it. And that was it. We get to the desert, we do a little bit of acid. And the next day, he's like, pull up that voice note. I've been really thinking about it. I pull it up and he's like, okay, opens up GarageBand, starts doing what he does in GarageBand because that's all we had in the desert.
Crazy.
And produced the entire I Don't Know You demo. My mind was blown because I was like, he heard it in a voice note, didn't really say too much about it, and then creates this like beautiful production. And that's how I Don't Know You was born. And then we played it for KCRW and they found the demo, they got the demo, and then they started playing it on the radio. That was our first song that was played on the radio. And I remember it like yesterday. I was working at a restaurant at the time in Santa Monica and I had just gotten off of like my long shift. It was like maybe 1 or 2 a.m. I was walking to my car. I had to walk like half a mile to my car. I was walking to my car. I get a phone call from Josh and Josh is like, oh my God, our song is playing on the radio. And I was like, what song? He's like, I Don't Know You. I was like, it's just a demo. He's like, well, it's playing on the radio. And I was like, oh my God, it's playing at 1 a.m., but who cares? It's on the radio. We were both freaking out. It was such a core memory. It was such a beautiful moment for us. And then people called the radio station. They were like, hey, what is this song? What is this band? Because we didn't have anything out. It was just a demo and we had no other music out. And, people were really gravitating towards it. And the radio station was like, people are like pulling their cars over and calling us and asking about this song. And so Josh and I were like, wait, maybe there's something to this. Maybe there's something to this project. And so then we kind of put more of kind of prioritized the project after that moment and kept writing songs and wanting to play shows. And yeah, so it was a pivotal moment, that song, and releasing that song.
Like, what a beautifully validating moment from something that I don't know if that will ever happen in that way again in history, right? Like, the year is 2017. Radio means something different. KCRW, which has done a great job forever of establishing local voices, like, that is like a moment of validation, and like the amount of audience that station was able to reach at that moment, like it's very cool.
Very.
But your trajectory as a group, has been like very much both this old and new school mix, because K-Rock then gives you a cosign.
Yeah.
Like, it is this merging of like TikTok comes by chance.
Yes.
Like, your mission has been consistent since the very beginning.
Yeah. I think the fact that No One Noticed is now being played on pop radio stations is wild to me, because it was just, to me, like this indie song, but now it's being played on pop radio because it had this luck of the draw moment on TikTok. I mean, TikTok, it truly is, it's the luck of the draw, feel very lucky that a lot of people discovered us through that song and through that platform. But yeah, it does feel like kind of merging between these two. Like, we're like an indie band and an indie song, but now we're being played on pop radio and, playing arenas. And so it's kind of like within the band, we're like, how do we retain this indie sort of culture of, I still reply to DMs and I still try to have this one-on-one, interaction with fans. And we used to do meet and greets after every single show. And now, that's not possible. But how do we still retain that within the Marias now that, it's growing? And so it's definitely something that's talked about a lot in the band as we grow.
It's really understanding, like, what does it mean to be indie? Sorry.
Oh no, my question's way back. But when you guys got picked up on radio for the first time, were you the Marias already, or did that kind of give birth to the Marias?
We had the name, so it was on the station as the Marias, but that was it. The song wasn't even on Spotify when it was played on the radio. It was just on SoundCloud. It was just the demo. So the Marias really didn't exist when that song was played on KCRW. So I think that was like the inception of the Marias.
And how did the Marias, like, the name come to be?
So we had the band. We were rehearsing all of these songs, and I was like, guys, like, we need a band name, and we didn't have one. And some names were thrown out. I don't even remember what they were. And we were rehearsing for maybe like 6 to 8 months before we played our first show, because I just wanted our sound to be dialed. I wanted us to rehearse a number of songs before we played live for the first time. And we got a gig, and they were like, okay, we need a band name. We'll give you this show, but you need a band name. And Eddie, he plays keys in our band, he was like, what about the Marias? And I just kind of laughed, and I was like, no, it can't. I don't want my name to be, I don't want my name to be a part of this. And, he named our group chat like the Marias or something. So it was just a joke. And then by the time the show promoter was like, we need a band name, guys, we need a band name, or else you're not going to play this show. And we were like, whatever, okay, fuck it. Let's just go by the Marias. We didn't expect to be
Playing
where
arenas,
we are.
yeah.
To be playing arenas. So we were like, whatever, okay, fine. Let's go with the Marias. And so it was just what started as a joke became, and people still ask us, they're like, are you the only Maria or are there more Maria? I'm the only Maria. It's me and three guys.
There's one Maria, but they're definitely Marias.
Yeah.
They're one of them.
They are. Mm-hmm.
It's a genius name.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Good job, Eddie.
Yeah, well done, Eddie. Well done, dude. I mean, can we talk about success? Because you mentioned indie and like going and playing arenas. More people getting to know your work. I mean, there's like 32 million people just on one streamer a month listening to your music.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. Like, and more people just knowing your name. How, and I guess maybe Submarine has been written kind of before it all, but you do have two records that I do want to talk about that I do think it's going to round out a trilogy. So does the success in people getting to know you change the way you approach music, creativity at all?
Yes and no. I think yes, because no one noticed, and the fact that so many people gravitated towards that song gave me the confidence that I didn't have to write up-tempo, quote-unquote, hits. It took the pressure off. That I could just write these songs that I want to on guitar, and these, I can be emotional, I can be vulnerable, I can be super honest, and people are going to like that. So I think that gave me the confidence to approach music the way that I wanted to approach it. And then know in the sense that like, whether we're successful or not, I'll still always write music and I'll still always write these songs. So, yeah.
That's true, right?
Yeah.
Do you make music for yourself or others?
Now I would say a little bit of both. I think at first, when I'm first writing music, I make it for myself and I make it to just be in the moment, to be fully in the moment, without any expectations. But after that point, I understand that this music is going to be a soundtrack to people's lives, and with Submarine specifically, there were a lot of people that reached out and were like, this album saved my life. Like, this album like helped me through a breakup, helped me, leave a relationship that I needed to leave, or, that just helped them in so many different ways. And so after I'm done sort of writing the song, I know that after that moment, it's going to go on and take a life of its own for others. So it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, it belongs to somebody else.
Yeah.
Do these songs, have they started to take on new meaning to you specifically? Some of them are very poignant. And like, there's a lot, like Sienna.
Yes, Sienna.
That song is...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sienna's probably one of the more heartbreaking ones for sure. And it was, I think, one of the more honest ones. It was written about a child that will never be because the relationship ended. And, when you're in a relationship, you romanticize whether you want kids or not. Like, maybe you romanticize having a family with this person, or like having a future with this person, having a house, or like going through life. And
it's a part of it.
It's a part of it.
When you're with somebody for years, like you do, like as you think about your own future, a part of you don't see a future without the person you're next to every day.
Exactly. And, and I kind of go back and forth about kids and whether I want kids or not, and there's so many ways to of motherhood without having children. But, at the time I was like, I don't know. And I was like, but if I did have a child with this person, I would name her Sienna. And so when I was writing the song, I was kind of looking back at all the memories and all the times that we had spent together, and of this child, of this girl that would have qualities from both of us. She would be running around and, be super free-spirited like them and be jumping in the pool, but then she would have quiet moments in solitude and be singing to her pets like I do. I sing to my dog, and when I had a fish, I would sing to my fish. And, and so I would sing to all of my pets in the way that I did, and she would be sensitive like you, and she would have all of these qualities from the both of us. But at the end of the day, she doesn't exist, and she just disappears into nothing because she's not here.
What is it like crafting an album like this, a song like that? Like even like you have to get a little emotional even talking about it.
Definitely. I'm laughing or else I'd be crying.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah. I mean, it was.
And even to make that I'm assuming Josh is in the room.
Josh
or
is in the
somewhere
room.
close.
Josh is in the room. And with Sienna in particular, I think we jammed on it. I was in the vocal booth and we jammed on the song for maybe an hour together. So we weren't directly looking at each other. I was kind of hidden away in the vocal booth and he was hidden away in the studio. But after the hour that we spent kind of jamming on it, we just both kind of looked at each other and we were like, okay, without asking any questions. Submarine, there were no questions asked. Like, he didn't ask me, hey, is this song about our relationship? Is this about another relationship? Is this about this? Is this about that? There were no questions. And that, I think, you can see it two ways. You can see it as like both of us being a bit conflict avoidant. But on the upside, it allowed me, I think, the space and freedom to say what I wanted to say without feeling like I needed to explain myself. And so I give Josh so much credit and so much strength to go through that process and allowing me the space to be as honest as I wanted to be, even though it was really sticky and it was just him and I in the room writing these songs. And some are about him and some aren't about him. And he knew that. And so I give so much credit to him for giving me that space.
He is a world-class producer.
He really is.
That is like
just a human being, a world-class human being. Yeah.
But just on the professional side of it, like that is the ultimate test of a producer, right? Because that's really their job, right? Is to give a writer, an artist, like space to be themselves and the most vulnerable and to kind of guide them and shepherd them and enhance them, Like a producer listens.
Yes. Yeah. He listens and he listened for sure, without judgment. Listening is one thing, but it's listening, I think, without judgment and with complete openness. It was awkward, don't get me wrong, because like I said, some were about him and some were not about him. I think a lot of people talk about, Josh and I's relationship and in this album, but I'm a woman that I've had many relationships. We can talk about, I've dated a bullfighter. I've, dated an indie lead to a band, and all these different relationships that I've had. Yeah, that we can get into if you want. No, but
let's talk about bulls.
So you want to talk about the bullfighter? We can talk about the bullfighter.
But it is like one of the reasons why you wanted to end the relationship with Josh was because you had been in relationships for so long.
Yeah, and I was in a relationship after Josh as well, and I think after that relationship was when I realized, look, I think I'm a serial monogamist at this point. I've been from one relationship to the other since I was 15 years old. I was in relationships, and I would learn so much from them. I would learn so much about myself, but I also wanted to know who I was outside the context of somebody else. I wanted to know who Maria was without feeling like I needed to perform for somebody else, without taking on somebody else's interests, without splitting my time, without compromising. I wanted to know, because those are all beautiful aspects of a relationship. Compromise is a beautiful thing and sharing things is beautiful, don't get me wrong, but I wanted to experience me without that. And so it was the most difficult decision that I've ever had to make, for sure. It was really, really, really hard. But I'm so glad that I did. And, that was to over 2 years ago. And so I was 2 years by myself and figuring life out. And, I'm grateful for it, but it was really hard.
That, like, it is hard, but you do get to grow and evolve, like, in a different way. Like, to be in a relationship, it is constantly reprioritizing, as fulfilling as it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think now I've kind of been going through the thought process of, because breakups are so painful. I mean, so painful, that I'm kind of like, the question comes up is like, is love worth the pain?
Ooh.
Like, is being in a relationship worth the potential completely distraught, like, if it ends, because you enter into a completely different state of consciousness during a breakup. It's a withdrawal. It feels like it's the worst thing imaginable, at least for me, because I love really, really hard, but then I break really, really hard. And so after what inspired Submarine, the breakup with Josh, and thereafter, I think I was like, is love worth the pain? I'm kind of scared, so that's the question that I keep asking myself. And sometimes I'm like, it is worth the pain. It is worth, the potential. You know what? Now thinking about it, sitting here, I'm like, fuck, maybe it's not. And I don't know, because man, it was so hard. I don't know. I don't know.
Hard.
Do you think it is?
My gut says yeah. And if I was to trust like basic literature going back to like a long time ago, better to love and like lose someone to never have loved before. But like the truth is, you have loved before, so you know what it's like to lose something. So you've already been there.
Exactly.
So maybe you've checked that box off in life.
Exactly. I think I'm really lucky. I'm really, really lucky that I've loved, like truly loved, multiple people in my life. And I've felt loved by multiple people in my life. Like, I've had beautiful love stories, and I've felt, the euphoria, but I've felt the heartbreak. And so I'm like, do I need to do that again? Or
depends on the intention, like your why of dating. Are you dating to find somebody forever? Are you dating to find somebody who could be just a great partner for, like, you get what I'm saying?
Inspiration?
I don't know. It's hard.
I mean,
Life's hard.
I think dating, I go back and forth on that too. I'm like, well, what is the point of dating if it's not like finding somebody for life? Like swans mate for life. Like, there's so many species that mate for life, and that's such a beautiful thing. And that's such I think like a dreamlike state of being like, I choose you and I'm going to commit to you for the rest of my life. It's scary, but it's also so beautiful, and I'm going to grow with you, and I'm going to, die with you. Like, I don't want to live without you. I think that's beautiful. But then a part of me is also like, does that actually exist? And does that person exist? And I know that it's a choice. I know that love is an action. Like, I agree with all those like ideologies, but I don't know, you guys.
It's really hard.
I don't know.
That's why I believe in the beauty that you were able to transition a relationship into a friendship.
Definitely.
That is like productive and proactive and kind and healthy.
Yeah. And there, I've seen some like backlash online of like, girl, I would crash out if I was in a band with my ex. Like, how do you do this, writing songs like with your ex? And I could never be friends with an ex. And it's a red flag if you're friends with an ex. And it's like, I don't think it has to be that way, because love is not possessive. Love is a free flowing like emotion that isn't just, I will love you only if you're my romantic partner. I will love you only if you're my partner for life. No, it doesn't have to be that way. I will love you whether I'm in a romantic relationship or not. I love you as a friend. I love you as a person. Like, and maybe sometimes like because you love somebody so much, maybe you do have to let them go, and maybe you can't be friends, and maybe that's just that relationship can't transition into a friendship, but some can. And with Josh and I, it's a testament that love can go beyond a romantic relationship and into a beautiful friendship. And I know that that can't necessarily be the case with every relationship, but it can with some. And so I just, I can encourage people to see beyond like love as like love is like possession,
How did you know that the romantic side of that love was coming to an end?
We did so much together. We had the band together. We were business partners. We wrote together. We lived together. We had a dog together. Everything was so intertwined together that I think somewhere along the way, like the romantic spark, I don't know, wasn't there. And I think we started growing. I think, I don't know exactly how to answer that question. I think it was just more a feeling. And I think individually, feeling like at the time, I've gone through a lot of therapy since then, but at the time, feeling like I think I need to, I don't feel understood in this relationship. I don't feel like I'm getting everything that I need in this relationship. And, so I think I somewhere along the way, I think.
I understand it.
Yeah.
I do.
Don't want to get too,
I get
too
it.
personal, but yeah.
But the truth is too, like when you share everything, you almost share nothing.
Yeah. And I think.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like there's no surprise left. There's no.
There were moments, it was really difficult because we would wake up in the morning and even before saying good morning, how are you doing?
Talk.
Right? It's, oh my gosh, we have this. Our manager hit us up for this. We have to write a liner for this. So it was from the moment we would wake up our studio was in our living room. So from the moment we'd go to bed writing songs, we'd wake up writing songs, or we'd go to bed talking about, a visual for an album, or talking about, oh, we have to do this thing tomorrow. And so I think that's where the romantic love was kind of lost. We lost seeing each other as just human partners. Hey, how are you doing? Like we didn't slow down enough to like really notice each other. Hence no one noticed. But we weren't noticing each other because we were so wrapped up in everything that was the Marias and in building this band and what became a business and what, and everything. That I think that's where it was lost. That now I'm really grateful that we're friends because we give each other that space. Now we live apart. Now we can come together and like ask each other, hey, what'd you do today? We see each other.
You have things to catch up on.
Yes, we have things. Yeah. Whereas before, there was none of that. So.
Yeah, you saw the same stuff all the time.
Yeah.
You experienced the same shit from the second you woke up to the second you went to bed.
Yes, exactly. And in some cases that can work. But for us, I needed more of that emotional support. And I think at the end of the day, Josh did as well. And we weren't giving it to each other because we were so wrapped up in the band.
Do you become better artists post going your own way?
Yeah, I think so. I'm confident to say, I can only speak for myself, but I think if Josh was here, I think he would say yes as well, because I've seen him grow. Like just from an outsider's perspective, I've seen him grow as an artist, and I have grown as an artist as well. I have so many things that I want to do, and I feel so inspired, and like, I don't know, the time that I took for myself in those 2 years, like I learned so much, and like I in one of those things, I learned to just be completely fully in the moment, and that allowed me to be a better artist. And, there are projects that I want to, do outside of the band, and same with Josh. And so I think both of us experienced a lot of growth as like people and artists after the breakup, for sure.
You're writing more music, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
We do have 2 recent songs that we should talk about.
Yeah.
I also want to talk about the artwork for Submarine real quick too. Like, how'd you look so cool underwater?
Our photographer, shout out Bethany Vargas. Yeah,
Sick.
Our photographer just knew how to capture our essence underwater. It was very difficult. I got tinnitus. It was like it was a 2-day shoot. Both, I was underwater for like 10 hours a day. My eyes were like bloodshot red. I had to go to the ENT, like rush to the ENT because I like couldn't hear out of one ear. And my ENT was like, so you have a lot of fluid trapped in your ear. She's like, I see this a lot with divers. And I was like, interesting. You should say divers because that's all I've been doing for these 2 days.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
They're beautiful though.
Thank you.
I mean, that's wild. Wild. But okay, the 2 new records that we got so far, is this rounding out this red, blue, white trilogy here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is a trilogy, and I've kind of always seen it as a trilogy. I'm a huge fan of this filmmaker, Kieslowski, and he has a 3 colors trilogy, 3 colors red, 3 colors blue.
French art house film.
And 3 colors, maybe the next album color.
Oh, interesting.
But obviously he did it after the French flag. And I think my intention, I'm from Puerto Rico, and those are the colors of the Puerto Rican flag. So me personally, I'm going after the trilogy for the Puerto Rican flag.
So the last 2 songs, when did you write them?
We wrote those after Submarine was already done. It was already mixed, mastered. And thematically, they kind of still are Submarine in a sense that they're like breakup songs. But it's almost like what happens after a breakup. So it's like you break up, and then this person might, you have this anxiety of like, are they seeing somebody else? So Nobody Knew is like, I'm not seeing anybody else. I hope you're waiting for me. And then Back to Me was written after that they had already started seeing somebody else. And I was like, wait, is she everything that you need? So you go through this, I guess these are like post-breakup songs, like when the anxiety of like, I don't want them to see anybody else. Oh shit, they started seeing somebody else. That I feel like that's the real breakup, is when the person starts seeing somebody else.
And you see them out?
Or thankfully I have,
And by the way,
that's never happened with me, but yeah.
But there's beginning stages of that, like Paranoia on Submarine is about jealousy.
Yes. And that's a very direct song. Those are words that I actually said out loud to this person. I actually said, if I'm waking up here beside you, if I'm going to sleep here beside you, if I'm doing everything, here it's, the song says, if in the morning I'm with you, if in the evening I'm there, if it's you that's always waiting. I said those words out loud, like the lyrics were what I said. It's a very direct song about paranoia for sure. What do you want to know about it?
When do you realize that what you said to somebody is actually the perfect framework for a record?
I just realized it in the moment. When we were writing Paranoia, the guys were working on the chord progression. I was in the vocal booth and kind of spitting out lyrics and melodies, and those words just kind of came out. If in the morning I'm with you, if in the evening I'm there, if it's you that's always waiting. And I was like, well, I've said those words. And so they just, they came out in the moment. That a lot of my lyrics just kind of come out, and the melodies just come out all at once in the moment without thinking too much about it.
Are you playing production underneath? Are you?
Yeah, so there's chords. There's usually like chords underneath. And then I'll like hear those chords, and then I'll hear like melodies in my head, and then I'll just like start singing into the mic like melodies, and then the lyrics will come out with the melodies. Sometimes I'll have to like go back and like rework tweak some things, but for the most part, it just kind of like comes out almost like stream of consciousness. And so Paranoia, it was fully stream of consciousness.
When do you realize what you're talking about?
After the fact, and then I like look at Josh, or I look at after Paranoia, I looked at the guys and I was like, did I say that? Did I really say that? And they were like, well,
you did.
And that song is not about Josh. Yeah.
Nobody knew. Baby, I promise. There's nobody new. I'm being honest. There's no one like you. Is that what you want to hear from someone?
Yeah. I want to hear, no, I'm not seeing anybody else. I miss you. I miss you. I'm here. Let's try again. That's what I wanted to hear at the time. I wanted to hear, there's nobody in my life. There's nobody new in my life. I keep thinking about you and I want you. And please, let's try again. That's what I wanted to hear at the time. In retrospect, I'm so glad that did not happen. But in the moment, that's what I wanted to hear. Yeah.
And Back to Me deals, obviously.
And Back to Me was, well, okay, you did find somebody new, didn't you? Yeah. And that was, yeah, kind of when you see them with somebody new and you're like, well, is that what you want? Is that what you need? Like, I'm here, like, come back to me. And kind of in this like state of, I don't know, begging for I didn't beg, but in the song I did, but in reality I did not, for somebody to return. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you writing these records while in relationships, freshly out of them?
Out. Both of these were out. Mm-hmm.
There's an Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind reference on there.
There is, yeah. Meet Me in Montauk, yeah. Yeah. I think with that, I do draw a lot of inspiration from films, and, in Eternal Sunshine, it's this notion of like forgetting all of the memories. And there's like this, this thing that after a breakup, I want to forget everything about you. I want to forget that you ever existed. Like, it hurts too much to even remember you. And so I wanted to include that in Back to Me, because I don't want to forget moments that we spent together. And I hope that you don't forget moments that we spent together. It's still a part of our reality, and it's still a part of our history and our love story. And so I don't want to forget that. And I hope you don't forget that either. And yeah, but I feel like a lot of people after relationships, they're like, I want to forget they ever even existed. I don't know. Are you like that? Are you?
The answer is yes, but usually that just makes them stick out in your brain even more.
Yeah, if you like push it, you try to push it away. Yeah, anything you resist persists. That's what my therapist says. So if you try to forget the person, the more they're going to be in your mind.
I need this person's number. Mm-hmm. You got a good one.
I do. I have a really good one.
Damn. Yeah. Wait. Okay. So Benny Blanco, by the way, called Back to Me the perfect song. Do you agree? Yeah,
we played it for him shortly after we wrote it, because we were working on, we started working on Ojos Tristes around that time. And so we were like, hey, we have this song. You want to hear it? And he was like, yeah. And then he loved it. And he's always been so supportive. Like he's so, that's like his superpower, I think, as a producer, is like making you feel like the best. Like the best version of yourself, the most confident. He just like gasses you up. He's like, you are so amazing. Like, your songs are amazing. The tones are amazing. They're so dreamy. I want to feel like I'm floating. You make me feel like I'm floating. He's so encouraging. And so I feel like that inspires everyone in the room to just be like, oh, maybe I am. Maybe I am dreamy. Like, maybe I do make you feel like I'm floating. I want to do more of that. And so, yeah, I love Benny. He's the best.
Can you explain to me how you all connected? Was it really just the two of them going on a date and they went to your show?
Yeah, they came to our Hollywood Forever show. But we had met Benny before him and Selena started dating, and we had worked on Nobody Knew together. That was before before that. And
So how did you meet him?
I think he had been posting our song Over the Moon a few times on his story, like he posted it multiple times on his story. It became like an inside joke within the band. It's like, oh, Benny posted Over the Moon again. And so I just found it so funny. And so I just like responded, to another time that he had posted Over the Moon. And then we were just like chatting back and forth over Instagram and like sharing songs and things. And then we were like, well, let's try making a song together. So he came into the studio and just hung out. And he came in like, I think he was like barefoot. He came in barefoot and I was just like, yes. Josh and I were like, this is the guy that we want to make music with for sure. He's just so open and there was no judgment. Like what we were talking about earlier, a good producer like listens without judgment. You could say anything to Benny. Like you could talk about your most insane, intrusive thoughts and he would just be like, yeah, same. Or like make you feel no sense of judgment whatsoever. So the room was just a blank slate to write whatever we wanted.
So no one notices the song you did with him?
No, nobody knew.
Nobody knew. I'm so sorry.
Nobody knew, yeah.
Okay, can you tell me timeline on all of it? So,
I'll try.
Yeah, dude.
I don't have a great memory, but I'm going to try.
It's been a lot. You've lived a lot of life since 2017.
Yeah. Mm-hmm, yes.
And by the way, like the journey just keeps continuing.
Yeah.
Like it
I just take it one day at a time.
Yeah, like it almost hasn't started yet.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Definitely.
Very weird.
And there's so much more that I want to do. Yeah. But I'm just taking it one day at a time, one moment at a time. Like my motto is like, I'm a leaf in the wind. I just take it one moment at a time and like, don't think too much about the future, think too much about the past. So, I'm just very in the moment.
I like that.
Yeah.
Be a leaf, man.
Yeah, be a leaf in the wind.
Be a leaf in the wind. But by the way, you can listen to Submarine. It's waiting for you. Plus all the new stuff. It's on Amazon Music. There's a link below. How'd you get connected with Bad Bunny?
So Bad Bunny was listening to us during the pandemic, and he reached out to be a part of Un Verano Sin Ti. And I think, his intention behind that album was almost like a love letter to Puerto Rico. And I think he wanted to show the world, it's like, musicians and artists from Puerto Rico, like we make reggaeton, we make música urbana, we also make indie music. And so I think he wanted to show like the different colors of artists from Puerto Rico. And so when he reached out to make like an indie Bad Bunny song, we were like, yeah, let's do it. And so it was like the most seamless, like the smoothest like writing process ever. And he's so sweet and so cute.
What was smooth about it? Do you go in with ideas? Do you go in blank slate?
He came in with an idea.
Okay.
And so we heard the idea and then we just kind of like added to it. Yeah. So yeah, he had a very clear vision. He knew what he wanted. And so we just wanted to add to that vision.
What did he come in with?
He came in with a lot of the track. So the track that you hear and like the sounds and his intention was wanting to make this sort of more indie sounding song. And, so we went into the studio and Josh and I heard it and we were like, okay. And we understood immediately like what the vision was. And then I got in the booth and added, the Maria special. We call it the Maria special because I go into the booth and I do my vocal layers. It's like center vocal, pan, and then center vocal, hard left, hard right. And then we do center vocal, low octave, hard left, hard right, high octave, hard left, hard right, center. So we did all these vocal layers and wrote a new verse and added some different things and Bad Bunny, that day took that version to, I think he was playing it for Apple Music. He took it and he like played it. He's like, hey, listen to this song the day that it was made. Listen to the song we made with the Marias. And so he was excited about it from the beginning and so supportive that song from the beginning. And so it's really special. He's a really special artist
How
and
does
has done so much for the island. And I'm so grateful.
that, like, he genuinely, with his whole heart and physical and mental and artistic being,
Yeah.
reps his home.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. And when he approached us, like I knew that he wanted to show the world that like Puerto Rico, like there's so many layers to the music that comes out of Puerto Rico. And Buscabulla is on the album. They're also an indie band from Puerto Rico. Bomba Estéreo, you know, they're also an indie band. So I think, yeah, he just wanted to show like that, you know, that Latin music comes in like all different, you know, colors. But going back to Puerto Rico, he's done so much to put the island on the map and to showcase like its culture with the rest of the world, that it's really beautiful. And also, you know, telling the world's like the issues on the island and like spreading the word about that. I mean, like growing up in Puerto Rico, when he talks about el apagón, like, you know, growing up, like we would always, you know, lose power, lose water, and it you know, it just became a reality at that point, and more so after Hurricane Maria. So I'm happy that he's put that into the music and also like spread sort of that
Into
to
the consciousness and
yeah.
conversation and zeitgeist.
Exactly. Yeah.
Vital.
Very, very.
How does working with Bad Bunny compare and contrast like working with Benny and Selena? Are there any similarities to that structure and process?
They were both so easy. All of the collaborations that we've done have been so easy, so smooth. I mean, the collaboration with Benny and Selena came to us with the idea that they wanted to do something with this song El Muchacho de los Ojos Tristes by Jeanette. And I was like immediate, yes, like if we can do it and it can sound like us and dreamy and ethereal, let's do it. Because fans have been asking us from the beginning of the Marías, like, hey, can you cover Jeanette? You remind me of Jeanette. Your voice sounds like Jeanette. Your vibe is like Jeanette. My parents love Jeanette. They say that you sound, you know. So when Benny and Selena approached us with that idea, it was an immediate yes, because I was like, yes, it's like a love letter for our fans and for their parents and for their grandparents that grew up listening to this song. It's a really special way to like bring it into this generation. And her family's from Mexico, and you know, and so it was like almost like a love letter to her grandparents as well. So it has a lot of like personal emotion in that song, especially with Selena being Mexican, and you know that song doing what it did, you know, within that country. And yeah, so I think just all around it was like a really beautiful and personal song for both of us to do together. Yeah.
All the Maria's music is waiting for you on Amazon Music. There is a link below. Go. Final thoughts?
Yeah, way early on you said something about taking acid, and then I heard another interview during cinema you guys did acid.
Yeah.
How does that help with what you guys create?
A lot of acid.
Yeah. You know, we have dabbled with psychedelics like within the band, and the guys still do. And I think like listening to music on psychedelics for me was like a big learning experience, because I was able to really dissect all the layers. Like when I listen to music on psychedelics, like I have like a page in front of me and I like draw out like a diagram of all the sounds that I hear and all of the layers that I hear and where I hear them. And so it helps me when we're making our music of like, I want the same level of like dimension in the music, but I also want to put these like little layers that maybe when you're not tripping, maybe you can't hear, but when you are tripping, you do hear. And so I'm always like, let's keep that in for the people that are tripping and listening to this. let's add some like little ear candy things that only people that are tripping can listen, can hear. Yeah.
So will you take psychedelics and listen back to your album after it's done to hear what it feels like non-tripping? And then
I've done that before. Yes.
Would you listen to?
I listened to cinema that way. And I had a lot of notes. I had a lot of notes. I didn't listen to Submarine that way. I think because Submarine, just the breakup put me, I feel like, in a state of consciousness that I felt like I was already tripping.
Yeah.
I felt like the breakup and the emotions, I was already on psychedelics 24/7 because, like I said, like a breakup puts you into a different state of consciousness, that I was like seeing the world in a different way because of the pain that I was feeling. So I didn't dabble with psychedelics with Submarine because I feel like I was already on them because of the pain that I was feeling. But I think, with this next project, I did leave in a lot of room to like add different layers for people tripping. And so I do want to listen to it tripping because a lot of the stuff that we added to the project were specifically for listening to it while tripping. Be safe, everyone. This is not an advertisement to trip. Be safe, trippers. It's not for everyone.
Real.
It's not for everyone.
Dose properly.
Exactly.
Take it slow.
Take it slow. Make sure you know exactly what the dose is, and do your research. Test it out with your body, and listen to your body. These are all words of advice that I wish that I had gotten when we were sort of like dabbling from the beginning, because we would just send it, without knowing. Great times. But yes, word of caution, just make sure you know and do it safely and be around people that you feel completely safe with and in an environment that you feel safe with. Do it in nature. Look at the trees.
Yes.
Really connect with nature is like my biggest word of advice, because there's so much that we can learn just from nature. Like the last time that I tripped, I was like, I'm a part of nature. We have to protect the planet. Like we have to protect each other, and trees are so connected. The root system is so connected. Oh my God, there's like a whole world underground that like we can't see. And how trees are connected by the roots and the mycelia and the fungus, and there's a whole world like that we don't see beneath the surface.
And that whole world
trees,
gives us life, by the way.
and how they communicate is just incredible, and has taught me so much about just the way that I want to live my life, and like at a slower pace, and like reminding myself like trees grow over centuries, and they're so slow in the ways that they communicate with each other, and so intentional and so communal. Like they share resources. If there's like, it truly is like, I don't know, a way that we should live. And yeah, so there's a lot to learn about nature and about trees and the way that nature communicates. Yeah.
Real. If we were more like plants, the world would be a better place.
But we are. We are a part of. We're not plants, but like we're all there together, and we're all existing together. I think we just forget it because we're humans and we have issues.
Amen. Please listen to the Marias. The music is waiting for you. It's on Amazon Music. Link below. Final thoughts?
Covered a lot here.
You're amazing.
I feel like I rambled. I'm sorry, you
That
guys.
was great.
First of all, like that's why you should be. We only want people who ramble. Like that's like I only want people who are going to talk to me.
Yeah.
I genuinely appreciate your time, energy, and
I
your
appreciate
talent.
you guys, and I appreciate the questions and the interest, and thanks.
You're very special.
Thanks, you too.
Listen to Submarine. It's waiting for you. Plus the new stuff and the old stuff. It's all below. And there's more tour dates, so we'll put a link below.
There are. Yeah, come to the shows.
Maria of the Marias, everybody.
What camera should I?
Oh, that one.
Hi.